So I just finished reading The Paleontologist by Luke Dumas. It's described as The Night at the Museum reimagined by Michael Crichton Stephen King, and that's so very accurate. The whole story revolves around Simon. He's the main character in this, and he's going through a rough breakup. He had a pretty rough childhood, and he accepts a job back in his hometown, which essentially kind of fled. Accepts a job back in his hometown as a paleontologist at a museum and the head curator for that whole section of the museum, which is interesting. He comes from a rough childhood where he didn't have a dad, and his mom was like this super drug addict person. He had a little sister. When he was 10 years old, him and his sister went to this museum, and she disappeared, never to be heard from again. And he blamed himself for that ever since, because he was supposed to be watching her. And then his aunt, these are spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, skip like to the very end, but spoilers. His aunt takes him and they move across the country, whatever. So present day, back, break up, everything comes back, and he thinks, this is a great opportunity to find out what happened to my sister. But while he's searching for what happened to his sister, really weird things start happening around the museum. He starts hearing rumblings and like talon clickings, and rumblings, bellowing like a crocodile, like when a crocodile does that type thing. That's what he's hearing. And he's starting to wonder, am I losing it a bit? Is anybody else hearing this sort of thing? And so things progress at night from him hearing things that other people aren't hearing, except the janitor hears things and just kind of quietly mentions to him, you shouldn't stay after dark. You should leave at a reasonable time. And if you hear something, don't go looking for it. Really? That's interesting. So it goes on from hearing things to feeling vibrations and hearing something go thump, thump, thump. And then he starts to see shadows. And then he starts to see actual things. And by things, I mean he's seeing dinosaurs. Not just dinosaurs, but the dinosaurs that are at the museums. Seeing them as if it was them brought back to real life. It's interesting. So while he's trying to figure out if these are real, he makes friends with, kind of friends, Evie. Her husband used to be the executive director of the museum. He was in charge of everything. He's since died. And she's just like this millionaire widow and is their biggest donor for the museum, obviously. And they are very interested in this fossil that the previous paleontologist at the museum had dug up and was supposed to be put together until he lost his mind and everybody thought he was a crackpot, and then he got kicked out, and all this is an entire thing. So it was a carnivorous dinosaur. I can't remember the name of it. It begins with the C. Please don't make me try to pronounce it. Anyway, so Simon, the main character, now his job is to unpack this dinosaur, put it together into a whole new exhibit. They want to reopen it. Oh, big key point is that this whole book takes place early in the COVID pandemic, which is kind of interesting to have a story take place around that. And they talk a lot about, the mask protocols and everything being shut down and things are starting to open back up and all that stuff that happened. Anyway, so they want this big grand opening to happen with the new dinosaur as a whole new thing. Get more donors in and basically reopen up. But the more he starts to piece this thing together and study it, he starts to unravel more stuff about his lost sister, what happened to her, and the museum covering things up. Oh my god, it's a spider web, and you're kind of constantly wondering, like, is he actually losing his mind? Does he really see these things? Do other people really see these things? Because obviously the janitor does, and Evie is kind of a clairvoyant, eccentric old lady, and she sees these things, or she sees spirits and auras and whatever. So she kind of encourages him to go look for his sister, and accept and acknowledge and accept the things that he's seeing around the museum as being truth. They kind of have this interesting partnership, this like 70-something-year-old widow and this, I think he's 31, 32, something like that, Wonderful little guy. Anyway, so he ends up meeting these other characters around town. He mostly kind of keeps to himself, but he bumps into this other guy around town who's a potter. Ceramics. Pottery. And this guy kind of like flirts with him. And he kind of brushes it off a bit, and he gives this whole alias about he's somebody named Theo. Theo is the dinosaur bones that he's put together. Long story short, without giving the details of everything, the previous curator for the paleontology section saw this stuff happening as well, and it's sad. He was at fault for the sister disappearing. He took her and gave her to someone else, and this someone else turned out to be the potter that he met. Really wasn't. So it turned into this whole thing of this potter thought that he could use bones in his ceramics to be able to see spirits, and he was trying to use these bones to see his dead mom, because apparently he has mommy issues. He's got mommy issues. He really is obsessed with his mother and wants to see his dead mother. Again, like 30 years later. It's definitely something. Oh, it might even be longer than that. So he took his sister and killed her and used her bones in pottery as bone china to try to see his mom, and then lo and behold, couldn't see his mom still. Shocker. It's crazy. It's crazy how everything unfolds in the weirdest ways. And so he finds out, he almost dies. Simon almost dies by this guy, but he at least finds out what happens to his sister, and there's a nice, good ending with it. There's more dino digging at the end, because he realized this Theo, the dinosaur that he was putting together, actually there was another dinosaur with him that they did not dig up, so that's really cute. It was like a brother-sister. I don't know exactly how accurate any of that's going to be, because I'm not a paleontologist, I'm a data scientist. So it is very, very cute towards the end. But I plowed through this. Like, it was good writing. There's a few times where it was a little, like, kept going back and bringing up the stuff with his mom over and over and over again, but it has its purpose. And he actually ends up seeing his mom, and she's just kind of dilapidated. Probably shouldn't talk about someone like that. She's just old and formed in like a institution and all sorts of things. So I think that she could actually see spirits and stuff too. It's very interesting how that works. But anyway, overall, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 stars. This was a really fun read. It was a quick read. There's, about 350 pages. So it's like a perfect sweet spot for a book, I think. 350 pages, 400 is a sweet spot. It goes by fast. It's entertaining. And the characters are fun. God, Evie is fun. She's eccentric. So if you like Night at the Museum, I guess. If you like Jurassic Park, I would go ahead and say you're going to like this, because I'm on a Jurassic Park kick like crazy right now. And as always, if you have read this book and you enjoyed it or you didn't enjoy it, just let me know what you thought about it as well, and if you'd recommend it to people too.